The same way that we had the conditional probability mass functions for discrete random variables, we can have a conditional probability density function for continuous random variables. What is that? So, let us say you have the experiment given by the tuple omega f p, right, and you have a random variable x, and let us say you also have an event A, which is all events are simply subsets of omega, and it also has to belong to f, but for now let us say you have this. Conditional PDF of x is simply as follows: f x given A of x is simply the probability of x belonging to x to x plus dx given A divided by dx. You can see the conditional probability density function is the same as standard PDF, just that instead of probability of x belonging to x plus dx, you have probability of x belonging to x plus dx given A. And because A is an event and this is also an event, this as a whole is a valid probability, this as a whole is a valid argument for a probability function, and you have a dx here the same way that you have for standard PDF. How do you interpret this? That is, A is this is fx given A of x is still actually a valid density function also. Why is that? Well, you can see that if you integrate or essentially what the conditional probability density function does is it captures the probability density function of x given that A has happened, right. A is some information about the randomness of the experiment, but it does not completely, let us say, give you the information about x. Let us see a simple example here, right. Let us say you have x is distributed as the as follows: x fx of x is equal to x by 2 if x belongs to 0, 2 and 0 otherwise. So, we already seen that this is a valid density function, and how will this look like? This will look as follows. Right. A value of 1 here, right. So, this is the density, this is how the density function of x is going to look like. Let us have a very simple event here. The event A is simply x is greater than 1. This is the event, and that what does the conditional probability density function now indicate? This is the question, what is the conditional probability density function of x? So, even though now you happen to know that x is greater than 1, you do not know completely x, and we do not know x completely because it can take anything between 1 and 2. But what is the density function of x? If you did not know x, this particular function effectively represents the uncertainty of x, right. So, higher values means that it is more likely to be there, and lesser values mean that it is less likely to be there. But given that you have observed A, how does the density function change? For 1, you should know that immediately that the value between 0 to 1 has to go to 0. Why is that? Because you have observed already that x is greater than 1, right. Because you have already observed that x is greater than 1, the density of the random variable x are in the range of 0 to 1 has to become 0 now, right. But between 1 and 2, what is going to happen, right? Between 1 and 2 it has to increase, right. So, let us say you had some 70% chance of before observing x, let us say you have some 70% chance of x to be being greater than 1. Given that you have observed x to be greater than 1, there is a 100% chance that x is greater than 1. So, effectively that has to 70% has to increase to 100%, and the 30% are essentially has to go to 0%. But how is that expressed in a concrete way, right? I am just giving some approximate numbers here, but we will do the exact, I think. What is fx given A of x? First of all, that will immediately give you that by definition it is going to be probability of x belonging to x to x plus dx given A by dx. In this case x is simply x greater than half, or x greater than 1. This is fx given a of x. We will get the easy things out first. It is going to be equal to 0 if x is less than 1. It is going to be equal to 0 if x is greater than 2, right. The interesting value is between 1 and 2. Why is it going to be 0 which x is greater than 2? Because x itself has nothing outside 0 to 2. So, given a also it does not change much. So, the density of x given a is also equal to 0 if x greater than 2. This is a consequence of a, right. So, because you observed x is to be greater than 1, the density of x given a of x is going to be 0. But between 1 and 2 what is going to happen? Right. So, between 1 and 2 this is, you can use the law of conditioning, you can simply use the definition of conditional probability, right. So, which is probability of x belonging to x plus dx given x greater than 1 is simply given by probability of x belonging to x plus dx and x greater than 1 divided by probability of x greater than 1. But when small x is in the range of 1 to 2, probability of x belonging to x plus dx, x to x plus dx and probability of and x greater than 1 is exactly the same as probability of x belonging to x plus dx. Why is that? Let us say for example x is 1.2, right. What the joint probability would give you is that probability of x belonging to 1.2 to 1.2 plus dx and x greater than 1, right. If x belongs to 1.2 and 1.2 plus dx, it is clearly greater than 1. So, the and is basically useless, it is a vacuous statement. So, now you have that would be the probability of x belonging to x plus dx divided by probability of a, right, by into dx, of course you have a dx also. Let us just rewrite that. What is probability of a? Probability of a would simply be the probability that x is greater than 1. What is that? Well, that is exactly equal to the area under this curve, right. So, probability of a simply equal to integral 1 to 2 x by 2 dx. So, that is simply x squared by 4 in the range of 2 to 1. Which is equal to 1 minus 1 by 4, which is 3 by 4. What this says is a priori the probability of a happening is 3 by 4, 3 by with 75% chance x is greater than 1. But there is a difference between a priori and posteriori, which is a priori means that you have not observed the event a, posteriori means that you have observed the event a. So, a has happened. So, you are effectively going to multiply probability of x belonging to x plus dx by 4 by 3. So, that will essentially be x by 2 into 4 by x by 2 divided by 3 by 4, which will be 4x by 6. So, what will effectively happen is that within this range the density function is going to increase, but within this range 0 to 1 it is going to become 0. So, if you drew a plot of fx given a, it would look like this, draw from scratch. It is going to be 0, 1, 2, let us say. At 1 it is going to be 4 by 6, at 2 it is going to be 8 by 6. So, the value here it is 4 by 6 or 2 by 3, this is 2 by 3 and this is 8 by 6 or 4 by 3. So, you can see that this value is not exactly the same as this, right. So, here it was half and 1 has become 2 by 3 and 4 by 3, but that is simply because of the multiplication by 4 by or division by 3 by 4. So, the trend remains the same, the trend between 1 and 2 is still linear for the fx given a, but the values are different because you are effectively divided by probability of a. And here is also an example of the case. Now you can see that the density function can be greater than 1, it can take values greater than 1 as long as the area of or as it integrates to 1. The integration to 1 is the important property. So, this is a conditional probability density function, and this is pretty powerful tool. And given an you can have a random variable, and you can ask the question, given this event A has happened, what is the conditional, what is the density function of this random variable x, that is given by the conditional density function. Okay. Now we will move on to another topic, which is functions of random variables. Let us say you have the same thing, let us say you have random variable x in the experiment given by omega fp. You can have a function of this random variable. Let us say take the simplest kind of function, let us say y is equal to x by 2, right, or let us say y is equal to x square, or y is equal to absolute value of x. Right. So, these are all functions of the random variable x. These themselves would be valid random variables. So, y would also be a random variable because it is a function of a random variable. And how do you get the density function of this new random variable? Right? Let us take the simplest example here, and let us actually do all the examples. Right? Let us take the case where x is uniform in the range of, let us say, -1 to 1. What does that mean? Fx of x is equal to half if x belongs to -1 to 1 and 0 otherwise. Clearly you can see this integrates to 1. Now y, in this case let us say x by 2. Right. You can ask the question, what is the density function of this new random variable y? Right. What is fy of y? That is the question, and you can just use simple logic here. What is fy of y is probability of y belonging to y plus, sorry, y to y plus dy divided by dy. But y is exactly equal to x by 2, which means that this is exactly equal to probability of x belonging to x by 2 belonging to y plus dy, or x belonging to 2y to 2y plus 2 dy divided by dy. Right. So, you have, yeah, let us create some space. Right. What is the probability that x belongs to 2y to 2y plus 2 dy? Right. So, here is where the range of the thing matters, where x, the probability of x belonging to x to x plus dx is going to be non-zero only if x is in the range of -1 to 1. So, when 2y is in the range of -1 to 1, this is going to be non-zero. Okay. So, this is going to be equal to, no, note that here it is 2 dy. So, you have to be careful here. So, this is going to be 0 first of all if 2y does not belong to -1 to 1, or in other words it is going to be 0 if y does not belong to -2 to 2, and sorry, y does not belong to -half to half, right, and that makes sense, right. So, x is uniform -1 to 1, you should immediately guess that y is equal to x by 2, y is uniform -half to half, but we are going to do this just in a painful way, right. But outside -half to half it is going to be 0, but within the range of -half to half, what is the value? The value is going to be equal to 2 times half if y is in the range of -half to half minus. Why are you getting a 2 here? This half is simply because of the consequence of fx of x. This 2 is a consequence of 2 dy. Right. So, this is probability of x belonging to 2y to 2y plus 2 dy. So, that is divided by dy, that is going to be equal to 2 times half. That is the reason why you have 2 into half, which is equal to 1. So, which we have the density of y is equal to 1 if in the range of -half to half and 0 otherwise. It is a very simple example. Let us take a slightly more complicated example. Let us say y is equal to absolute value of x. Let us take the same thing where x is uniform minus 1 to 1. What is the density function of y going to look like? You can use simple logic again, that is probability of y, sorry, Fy of y is going to be equal to 1 if y belongs to 0 to 1 and 0 otherwise. Why is that? Well, let us because let us draw the density functions of x and y. So, this is let us say minus 1, 0, 1. The density function of x looks like this. So, value is half, but y is equal to the absolute value of x. So, y cannot take negative values. Because it is a function of x, what effectively happens is whenever x takes negative value, effectively it transfers here. So, the density of y in the range of 0 to 1 is going to be greater than the density of x in the range of 0 to 1. In fact, it is going to be exactly twice as that. So, you will have, sorry, not being exact here, the value here is going to be 1. So, that is the reason why you have the density of y is simply equal to 1 in the range of 0 to 1 and 0 otherwise. And you can see that this also is a valid density function and it integrates to 1. Right. And this is going to be a pretty powerful tool for us, and there are some slightly easier tricks that we will see later on in the course. But functions of the main thing that you should take away here is that functions of random variables are also random variables.